So coming into the wellness retreat, we had a great time, spending time around each other for 3 days, man. Just men, and being able to find spaces, to safe spaces to be vulnerable. We learned a lot about each other, but also what we learned is a lot of similarities. But in the same process, we were going to shoot one of our podcasts, and I knew that this was a moment I wanted to share something that was personal for me, something that happened to me previously, almost 9 months before this wellness, and so. We were bringing on a good friend of ours that's a doctor as well to kind of help me and ask questions, but also just help us understand kind of the male body and also to the male mind. Like, what are we going through when we come to the doctor? What questions should we ask? What questions should we be asking our healthcare providers? Like, what should we do? And so having a doctor that helped us, at the wellness retreat, kind of understand the things that we needed. But in this episode, I wanted to share, and I wanted to let people in that's close to me on some of the things that I'm dealing with personally. Because someone personally that was affected by something, that is dealing with something that you cannot see, and then their armor looks so strong, and then you find out they're dealing with something that, maybe has them feeling vulnerable or weak. You take that information and, you go do something about it in your own life, because, you can't see it in that person. So I wanted to do that in this episode, and I just want to share with my brothers everything that I experienced.
That moment was probably the weakest point I've ever felt in my life. As a man, you never want your family to see you weak. Don't want to be perceived weak, and you don't want to be seen in your weak moments.
Right.
In that process of my weakness, I found strength in my family. First live taping.
I gotta make sure I got my phone off because I ain't trying to add to that jar. Well, hello. I'm Bob.
I'm Bob. Sound like you got something else you want to say.
No,
I'm Bob.
Just Bob.
My wife kicked me out because
just Bob.
It's like we was in AA, bro.
Yeah, just Bob.
And I'm Dwyane.
So I think we should talk about where we are.
Yeah, so I think we should talk about it. This is our first live audience. We're here for the TimeOut, as you guys see the hats. I know that if you're looking at this, you probably went right to the hats, like why they wearing them buddy cop hats. But we are here for the very first men's wellness retreat.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You feel that energy?
I feel that energy. We pretty much, roughly, if we want to round it up, it's about 30 men and even more, because we got a lot of people that's working the event, that's still being a part of the event. A lot of young men who's working the event as well, that's add to our numbers. So, but pretty much this year we were able to bring together 30 men.
Yep.
For 3 days, for the most part, 2.5, 3 days, to focus on their mental wellness, physical wellness, spiritual wellness, soul wellness.
All that.
Know what I'm saying? All the wellnesses.
All the wellness. I would say this is the cliches that this is so life changing, but it was life changing. It's been a great experience. I think for me, just to have that energy around other fellas, to be able to just talk and just be open, it's been just so liberating, and one of the things we do is that we try to check in with each other, right? And it was like one giant check-in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna check in with you right now. Like, let's check in with each other. Like how are you doing right now?
Yeah, well, to talk about the check-in, so Bob and I, and my guys and all of us, and I know everyone has their own clique and their own crew.
Right.
One of the things we talked about was something as simple as adding a check-in into our relationship, where you just hit somebody and be like, hey, bro, how you doing? You know what I mean? And it gives someone the opportunity to, actually tell you how they doing. Because probably more than not, no one is asking that person. He's probably the man. He's probably the man of the household. No one's asking him how he's doing. And so we just started this little check-in, kind of situation. And we've brought it here to, the White Network podcast that we're on, where we talk about just regular men things. And a part of regular men things is our wellness, our health, our check-in amongst each other and guys. And so that's a part of the reason why we even started having a podcast platform. It was really
Right.
to be for this moment and for these moments, for us to be able to have a place where we can go and we can talk about things, we can express things, we can even disagree on things, to agree on things, agree to disagree on things, and just have that. So I'm gonna ask you first. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good.
Because last time we talked about it, you had to wait like 8 months to get to your doctor's appointment because you got that insurance that is like not right now. I got that immediate insurance. I got that get them in right now insurance. You got that I'll see you in about 8 months.
Our tax brackets are very different, by the way. Very different, by the way. My insurance is very different from yours.
Yeah, you got that not right now, not right now.
And not right now.
So how you doing with that not right now insurance?
So update. So for me,
It's an update.
the doctor appointment finally came 4.5 months later.
Okay.
It was interesting because when I when I got there, I was so excited. Like I had to drive all the way to Pasadena, which is about an hour and a half drive from my house in the morning. It was like a 8 a.m. call. And I had to leave the house at 6:30. Drove out there. I ain't been to the doctor in about a year and a half. And because you got to keep pushing back the appointments. And I had my physical. So I tell you this, man, as you get older, you got to make sure everything works. Make sure all of it works, and out, inside and out. So I went to go see the doctor. I was so excited to see the doctor. Went there, realized the doctor actually moved down the hall, but she moved, and I was like, oh, shit. Like, did I go to the wrong place? But no, I found her. Got there, went into the doctor's office. I sat down. She checked my blood pressure, asked me how much I weighed. I'm like, well, don't you want to weigh me? Cool. I gave her a weight.
Like, just give me a rough estimate. What's your height? What's your weight?
Yeah, so I told her I was 6'3", and I was like,
Oh, so you was lying like George. You was lying like George Walker on Hinge.
straight up. But I told her, my weight. I told her my height and everything like that. And what was crazy was that she asked me a bunch of questions. She was like, tell me how things are you taking any new medications, and a bunch of questions like that. And she said, all right, I see you next year. Yo, I was so pissed. I'm like, yo, you're not gonna do an EKG. Check everything. I bend over, I'll do anything you need right now, but I need to make sure everything is working.
Wait. So when she asked about the medicine, did you talk about the honey packs?
No.
Did you talk about the blue pills? I don't know what you're on. I'm just asking, did she talk about I know you're getting up there in age, Bob, so
right. No, everything still works, thankfully.
Okay, so you don't need none of that extra.
No, I might need it for pleasure, not for necessity.
Hey, listen. I say that to say, man, listen. We get to a certain age where you're gonna reach out
need a little boost
for a little help.
You need a little boost.
You're gonna reach out for a little help.
You're gonna need a little boost.
I don't know what that help gonna be.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this right now. When you 17 and 47, it's different. It's very different.
At 17, bro, 3, 4, 5 times. At 47, hey.
Get this one good one. But anyway, so she asked me these questions, and it's like, yo, I'm gonna send you to do blood work, and that's it. When I tell you I was so pissed, this is when I realized that I had that not now insurance for real. I'm like, yo, you ain't gonna do EKG, you're not gonna check anything.
Yeah.
And she was like, this is what we do now. Your EKG last 3 years was fine. Your
last
blood
3 years.
Yeah, was fine. Even though I ain't been in a year and a half, your blood pressure seems fine. We're gonna do your blood work and see what's up. And I'm like, and I gotta wait 30 days for that to happen. So I was like, yo, what was all this for? We can do this over the phone. But so I realized then at that moment I needed to find a new doctor. Might need to get some better insurance.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And all these things, because I realize as I'm getting older, I gotta make sure I do what I gotta do for my health, because clearly they ain't looking out for me. At least that's what it seems like for me.
Did you learn that? Just a quick question.
Sure.
I know we get into the check-in, but was that something that your father, your uncles, any man in your life, was that anything they ever talked to you about when they talk to you about things that they say, Bob, when you get older, when you get a certain age, you got to make sure that you focus on what's inside of your body and not just focus on going getting a haircut, you know what I'm saying,
No.
doing these things on the outside of your body?
No, I gotta stop you like 2 minutes earlier. No, and not because I think it's crazy as men. I think it's at least the old way, specifically black men, especially black Caribbean men. you have this distrust for the medical community. Like, man, you gonna go there and they gonna fuck some shit up and you take you out.
We get that from the heritage, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's passed down.
Right. So that part is kind of like a little hesitancy.
For good reasons.
Right. And even for let's use my case for example. My dad passed away from colon cancer. But it was interesting because during that process, I remember my dad at one point was saying, man, my stomach is hurting. My stomach is hurting. So he did a ultrasound, he did a CT scan, nothing. But he's like, yo, something ain't right. He kept going to the doctor, man. We went to the doctor in the hood. And next thing you know, one day out the blue, he's like, yo, I got stage 4. And I was like, yo, how the, like, you just got an ultrasound 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And to the point where when I went to this other doctor, like when you start going to the doctors for cancer in Reno and chemo, the doctor said, there's no way he could have been going to the doctor. Like almost telling us that we were wrong. Like telling us, no, you ain't going to the doctor to be this bad, to be this deep. You must not have been going. I'm like, no. So I had to go show, and it was an issue, and for me, I had a tough time trying to like trust doctors personally. For a long story short, I'm like, y'all took my old boy out. You know what I'm saying? Mainly because, for whatever it is, it's just kind of how it went down. And because of that, yes, I know for myself, I got to check myself. But now I know I got to be almost over the top with it.
To your point, a lot of times we go to the doctor, we kind of just take the word of what the doctor say.
Right.
And we just, because we don't want nothing to be wrong.
Right.
And so we yep our way out the door. But what we don't do is we don't come in with questions to ask. True. If you don't know what questions to ask, go to ChatGPT, go to Google, go somewhere to say, what questions do I ask when I go to the doctor to check up on X, Y, and Z? And you go in there with these questions so you can get your own answers, because a lot of times we don't want nothing to be wrong.
True.
So we ain't asking too many questions.
Right.
But you miss things because and we're going to talk about this more once we bring on our guests pretty soon here. We're going to talk about doctors and their side and how they make money and how they see things and what's their process.
Right.
Because we have a process and they have a process.
Right.
And I think it's good that we understand and know the doctors, the other side, what's their process as well, because we're just thinking about what we're looking for and what we need.
Right. So now you checked it with me. How you doing?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm doing great sitting here in this moment because I'm here and I'm surrounded around this group. Yeah. I'm doing great right now because I've been here for the last 48 hours or so.
Right.
And so I'm in a space right now of just feeling safe. And when you feel safe, you think of anything, you could do anything.
Right.
You can imagine anything. But my check-in that you've checked in with me about, and I haven't really got into it a lot because I was telling you and I said, no, Bob, I'm gonna wait till the right moment to talk about certain things. And this is the right moment, as we hear and we celebrate our first wellness retreat together. But for me, the journey to even get here to the wellness, wasn't just because, I wanted to be around the guys and get away from our responsibilities. That's not our journey to be here. I think all of us have went through something traumatic that got us here. Right? That's why we all here.
Right.
And so for me to sit down and think about getting here and to doing this summit, and what really made it real to say, all right, let's put the plan together, let's push this forward, and let's stop saying and let's just do it, was in this past calendar year for me. And so for probably the first time in my life, I didn't really, it's unexpected, right? When you go through things, you go through physical ailments that you can't feel, you can't see, because I'm an athlete who's been pretty healthy, not from surgeries and stuff, but just in life. Like every time I go to the doctor, say EKG, all the things, I'm fine, I've been great. But post-retirement, you don't get those same checkups. You don't have to get those same physicals, so you don't. And so I took a few years off of physicals, and when my dad went through his surgeries and his process, I went in to get myself checked out. Turned 40 years old, and I went in and I was like, Doc, I want to know everything about my body, head to toe. I got some things that I'm feeling. I got some stomach issues. These are the things I want us to check, but also check everything. So in that process of checking the certain cramps that I feel at times, on the process of checking like, man, why is my piss coming out slow? Why is my stream ain't powerful? Why is it a little weak?
I get it.
Like, I'm asking these questions because now my father has went through something, and now I know that if the man who birthed me, brought me here, is going through this, it's possibly that I may go through it. And then now you dig deeper and find out that someone else in your family, your grandfather, and so forth, go through it. So I did that, and in the midst of that, I went in the doctor to look for something else, but because I did the full body scan, they were able to see my entire body, my entire insides, and they were able to see something that was on my kidney, on my right kidney, when I went in. Didn't go in for my kidneys. And so what I had on my kidney was a cyst, a tumor, but it was not nothing that could be biopsied. It was not nothing they can test unless they went in and surgically removed it.
Took it out.
And so I'm sitting in the doctor, and I just went for physicals, pretty much, check on myself. And now I'm in the doctor, and the doctor was like, so you need to have kidney surgery.
Damn.
Wow.
What? I was coming in about this slow
stream.
Slow stream.
Yeah.
At that moment right there, I mean, obviously I have a decision to make. I get to see everything. I ask all the questions. I go to multiple doctors. I send it to multiple doctors. I do not just go to that one doctor, even though I'm the doctor, that's who I end up using. But I went to multiple doctors to make sure that this was what they saw. And so I had a personal decision to make. And what it was, if this is cancerous, if this tumor, this cyst is cancerous on your kidney, you're 41 years old, you probably need surgery because it's something that needs to be removed so it doesn't spread. I made a decision to have surgery. I had surgery on December 18th, 2023. My father was there to walk me into the hospital. My wife was there when I woke up. It's only 2 people you can have in the hospital. To find out, obviously at 41 years old, pretty healthy guy, that I did have cancer. Thank God that I did do the surgery.
Right.
Because the tumor was cancerous. So I have one kidney and I have another kidney that is 60%. They took 40% of my kidney to make sure that they can get all the cancer off of it, right? Because if it sits there on your kidney, now it spreads, and now they got to take more and more. And I had a teammate, Alonzo Mourning, who had a kidney transplant before. So I obviously reached out to him, asked a lot of questions, very scared of the process. But my own journey to have that surgery, I think it was the first time my family, my dad, my kids, they saw me weak. That moment was probably the weakest point I've ever felt in my life. The moments that I was by myself, I was struggling, dog. Struggling. And one thing you never want to do as a man, you never want your family to see you weak.
It's tough.
Don't want to be perceived weak, and you don't want to be seen in your weak moments.
Right.
But I had to. Fortunately for me, man, my family got in. They jumped in, and man, what I saw in the midst of that and me going through my illness, I saw my family who may not always talk, may not always agree.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't always see each other. I saw everybody show up for me and be there for me. In that process of my weakness, I found strength in my family, in my friends, in my group. And so that right there, that moment that I went through that, and I told myself before I went under anesthesia, when I was like, if I come out of this, if the Lord bring me out of this,
Right.
I'm going to do things differently. And I came out of that, and I've been doing things differently. And I've been attacking life the way that I'm not waiting. What I asked you on one of the podcasts, I said, Bob, if a doctor called you and said, you got a week to live, would you live that week differently?
Yep.
And you said,
I would.
So what you waiting for?
What you waiting for? I remember that.
So this wellness event was put together off the hinges of obviously personal trauma. And I was like, what am I waiting for? And so that's how we got here.
Right.
That's how we got here, to understanding that a timeout is needed. It's fucking earned. You know what I mean? It's our responsibility to make sure that we as men take timeouts for ourselves to focus on us. And that's why we're here at this wellness retreat.
Damn. That was a drop the mic moment, dog. Shit, you could have dropped the mic. Don't drop it though, but you could have dropped the mic. You could have dropped the mic. So, but now, since you about to come on a year on that now, from that surgery.
I'm coming up a year on, and I haven't only told my select friends and Oh, I haven't told nobody. I
Right,
never said
yeah.
nothing about this.
I know.
It's just been real private.
Right.
But yeah, we coming up on a year. And so obviously for me, this is a great time for this. I would love to do it a year from today. But one thing that I've been hearing here at this wellness retreat, this timeout, is how everybody has needed this moment. And we all got different reasons why
Right.
we needed this moment. And so for me, this check-in for myself, this time out for myself, it came at the perfect time because I am about to experience something in my life that is out of body. And I needed to come here and I needed to be grounded before I go experience this out-of-body experience, getting my statue in 2 weeks. And so perfect time for me to be here.
Perfect time. Now, what's the process afterwards? What's the aftercare like?
You know what's crazy? There's not a lot of aftercare. My wife asks me all the time. She's like, so you ain't got to go back to the doctor?
Right.
Me and my doctor communicate often. It was a lot of things that I needed to look out for and communicate with my doctor. Obviously everything shut down. It was just a little quick moment. It was a moment when I was in my room because I'm a man too and I'm tough and I wanted to do it by myself. My bathroom was way over that mother and it was far, but I had to get up multiple times throughout the night to go to the bathroom. I don't know why I ain't put a bucket by the bed. But I couldn't sleep on no side because I had surgery on my right side and it was messed up. But every time I tried to go on my left side, everything that was in my body felt like it was shifting around to my. You ever feel like your organs is moving around?
No, I have not.
I felt like every time I moved to one side, it went from the top down to the other side. And I had to get up multiple times to pee. And it sucked. But the check-in was checking in with my doctor. Obviously it was like, hey, in this week, how you feel, how your pee look, how this look, how this feel, all those different things. So I done checkup. It's not like a constant, everything. But one thing it did for me is that I had to focus on that. But that wasn't the only thing I had to focus on. That was the one thing I needed to take care of. But the things I actually went to the doctor for, my prostate and different things like that, is something I have to continue to go to the doctor and I had to experience. Share a quick story about my dad, which makes this cool. Because my dad and I, life was kind of built around sports for a very long time, and him being my father, me being his son, and whatever. Lately, we now share this part of our bodies, right? We now talk about going to the doctor, talking about our prostate, all these things, because we're dealing with it at the same time. And so I got on the phone with my dad after going to one of the doctor's appointments. And fellas, if you go get your prostate, sometimes you're gonna go to the doctor and you ain't gonna know they're gonna check your prostate. Right? So I go to the doctor, didn't know there was gonna be a prostate exam. I know a lot of men who over their 40s felt this before. Next thing you know, doctor got some lube on her fingers and she going up there, right?
Whoa.
So she go up there, right? So I don't really know, fellas, they going up there. And y'all know what up there is. So I don't really know who to talk about this.
Yes.
So I call my dad. My dad crazy. My dad started laughing. I just went through a traumatic experience in my life. So dad started laughing. He said, "Oh man, that ain't nothing. She just wanted to play in your booty."
Yo.
But I was able to share that, and then he was able to tell me that it is another step. It is another process to the prostate, and that is just a check-in, because I have since then got a biopsy on my prostate.
A word.
That's a whole different procedure that they go inside your prostate. And I recently have just done that as well. And a lot of reason why I had to do that is because of the history of my family, the genetics, the genes. My mom and my dad and I have done genetic testing so we can learn about our genes and our genetics and to see what is just for us and what do we have to, what can we aware our next generation with so they can understand what they may deal with. And so, we deal with our, prostate, not just as a black man, which black men has the highest rate of prostate cancer and die from it, but also in my family, it's in my bloodline. And so this is for me, and I have to go and I have to, learn about it. And so, just a quick story to share about just the relationship that, my father and I is gaining since we're older. Now we're talking about, the things that you never thought you would talk to your parents about.